Ashalaya, Ashaloro, Winnie, Winnie, Niba, Ayansa, Happy Peace, family. Welcome to African Spiritual Conversations. We back up in here on this beautiful Friday. How you doing? Yeah.
I'm here. I'm good.
We missed you yesterday, Ifeoma Dupe.
I missed you all yesterday too. I'm glad I'm back online and back in the house. It's a good day. It's Friday.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
Friday.
that's
Not
right.
that really means anything, but it does mean something.
You
So
remember that song? It's
it's
Friday
Friday.
night. Just got
Just got
paid.
paid. Where we going tonight? I
I
would say.
know.
Right?
I used to get my babysitting on.
Right.
Uh, yeah.
So sisters, we gotta just debrief a little bit about yesterday because yesterday was very, very powerful.
Yeah. It was.
What was your thoughts on? I know Ifa Modupe, you watched it online when you got back online, and then Yeye was right there. So, what were your thoughts about the brother yesterday, Quasi Akan? He was like incredible, but I had so many aha moments with him.
Yeah.
It was just I was just lost for words.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I had so many. Oh, hold on, y'all. Sorry, I'm trying to. There we go. Sorry about that. Go ahead, y'all.
Sorry. He brought so much to the. He served us an appetizer, a main course, the lemon or whatever they give you to clean your palate,
Palette.
uh, the dessert, and the cheese afterwards. And we had salad. He gave us an 8-course meal yesterday, and I'm still full.
Yeah.
That's
What?
real talk.
Um, when you hear, and not only with your ears, but with your whole head, and you hear with your heart and all of your being the truth of who you are, who we are as a people. It it's like a burden is lifted off of your soul, and you can stand up even straighter. Now, I thought I knew a thing or two, but I learned so much yesterday, and I'm so grateful.
Mm.
Um, it was so much. I'm gonna watch it again too because I know I didn't catch everything. Right? It was so much information, but there were some real game changers that I did catch.
Mhm.
The idea of spirit genetics is a game changer to me, and just the way that the information was given so holistically that it touched so many different areas, but most importantly, that is relevant to the African Americans.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? The black people who experienced the transatlantic slave trade and are now living in this country and trying to reconnect with their ancestral traditions, like it's also empowering to have it explained so clearly that we have not lost what we need,
Mhm.
that we still have it, that it's right here under our nose, that we just have to open our eyes and kind of tune ourselves to see it. That, that's huge. That's the
Mm.
game changer for us because it gives us back our own sovereignty. Like we are quick to give that away to people from different parts of the continent in search of ourselves.
Mhm.
And then it becomes this thing where we're looking for ourselves outside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that he explained that concept yesterday was just so clear and so like piercing. It just cut through all the noise of all the other stuff and just went straight to the heart of um, giving us back ourselves. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
here's what you're looking for. You still have it. You just need to get the tools to awaken it. Like that's a beautiful gift to be giving. And especially then giving people, specifically, like if your family's been doing this thing, then they're probably connected here, and just putting it in perspective. Like that's very powerful. It was just very powerful.
That reminds me of the Wiz. I'm going to talk about Stephanie Mills' Wiz, not the other lady Wiz. Dorothy had it all the time.
Yep.
We have it. We've had it all along.
Yep.
We just have forgotten. We've been beaten so that we haven't remembered. Put it back together. Remembered.
Mhm.
Or we haven't looked at some of the things when he talked about the quilting. We haven't looked at some of the things that we do that are so germane to where we came, to where our ancestors. Oh, and when he talked about when he talked about the Gullah people and the Ga, and he said that you came back as that ancestor from all those years ago. I said, yeah, there's a reason why you are the way you are. There's a reason why Ifa Madupwe is the way she is. It's
Right
a
on.
reason why I'm the way I am.
Yeah.
And it goes back to our soul, our ancestress,
Mhm.
that great one that walks with us, and that is us.
Yeah.
When you can really wrap your head around that, you can't bow down.
Right on.
Such a teaching. Now that ain't my dog.
Oh, that's the dog outside walking outside that's from here.
Oh, because
What is that?
Because my dog don't have that little sound.
Yeah.
When he's walking, he barks.
No, I'm about to close my window a little bit. I can't believe you hear this dog. That may not be coming from the front. That may be coming from my backyard.
Well,
Yeah.
We got this little dog in the back. Like, he ain't our dog. He's somebody else's dog.
Yeah, well, because I was looking to see if it was my dog, and then I listened to it. I said, that can't possibly be my dog. Yeah, what a day. What a day. And yes, I listened to it last night, and I fell off to sleep. But when I woke up, this is the thing. When I woke up last night, middle of the night, I had these things in my ears. And you know who was, he comes out of Dallas, the Potter House. What's his name?
T.D. Jakes.
He was on.
Yeah.
And I said, but Spirit has a way of working, because it helped me to understand that's our drug of choice. I'm talking about as people.
Yes.
That's our drug of choice. And we have to be careful that we're not hypnotized by religion. of any kind,
Yeah.
of any kind,
Yeah.
because we have a tendency to cling to something to make everything better for us. And,
Yeah.
and what the only thing you need to cling to is what is within you, because
Exactly.
that is where your power lies.
Right.
So it was interesting, and I listened to him for a little while. It's like a drug. It is. It just reels you in. And then when they got to the part of the tithe, and he started talking about that, I said, "Yeah, okay." Yeah, okay. I said to myself, "Do you think he could have built a school with all that money, or?"
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's we go for the sensationalism.
Mm,
Well,
yeah.
I know for a fact that a part of ministerial school is learning how to um, evoke emotion and reaction, and how to maximize your charisma and all those things. So when people do what we have responded to, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
shifts in a lot of areas of spirituality and religion, from the sensationalism to the teaching and all this, but
Mhm.
it is a head and heart game. It's not just one thing, right? And
Exactly.
here's what I know about the truth. And I experienced this yesterday watching the Facebook Live. That what the truth does is it makes you remember in your head and it moves your heart.
Mm.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It opens up that passageway. I think it's called in Yoruba the apako. It's like your neck, the thing that connects your ori to your body. Like
Mm-hmm.
we say, the head should lead the body. Like the truth, just Eshu owns that area. You know what I mean? That connection between your head and your heart. Eshu owns that. And the truth is the thing that cuts right through all of the foolishness directly to, you know what I mean? Directly to the heart of the matter. So it gets you, it moves you. When you feel that, like, that energy swell, but you
Mm-hmm.
also know that you're seeing clearly, coupled with the clarity, like that's transformation happening.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
that's when the transformation happens. Sometimes we get the swell and we get caught up in the feeling, and you know what I mean. We want to get the Holy Ghost and holla and all the stuff. But when you have it coupled with the clarity, it moves you, and by moving you, not just emotionally, it moves you into another place. Like the paradigm shift starts to happen. It's not just one thing. You know what I mean? You're a whole being. And so without it being um rooted in that, and I'm not talking about just what's true. I'm not talking about just facts. I'm talking about spiritual principle, truth that's translatable to any tradition, translatable to any. Do you know what I mean? There
Yeah.
are some things that are true
Mm-hmm.
that withstand um, whatever experience, whatever the circumstance is. The truth will withstand all of that, and that's when you know you like hit on something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's rare. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it happens, boy, that's a good day.
Oh yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
good day. That's a good day.
Yeah. I think anyone that really listens to that video will, if they are awake at all, they will come away transformed. The paradigm shift will have begun or continued in a big way for them. I know it has for me. I blown away, absolutely blown away. And the blood and the soul. So now I understand even more about our ancestors and our ancestors, the female word. I've got to get used to saying that because I've always just said ancestors. But he brought that to the fore as well.
Yeah.
That it's
Yeah.
always the male and the female to make the supreme.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he got down on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Real talk. Real talk.
yeah, I loved everything he had to say. I think the one thing that made my ears perk up was when he talked about the blood and the soul. But
Mm-hmm.
also he also talked about how your ancestors come back and if we could do a better job of recognizing them, you know,
Yeah.
like when we see them coming. And sometimes we don't because for some of us, even those who are spiritual, they'll be so quick to claim um, the people who put us in this mess and the people who've been enslaving us. Like that's, I love when you said when you see people who are lighter and things like that. That just shows you that you had trauma that you experienced in your
Yeah.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, damn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like because we try to do it like it's something to be proud of. I've never met a people who were so quick to claim their rapist or their abuser and show off their
Yeah.
line, but not the
Right.
line that you really are attached to. And so he
But that
put that
was
in such a
like,
great way, huh?
yeah, that was like instant illumination for me. Like immediately, I recognized that, even though we say, don't fight your own spiritual nature, right? Don't
Right,
go against the grain of your being. That what we usually mean is as long as you're not gonna turn into a monster, right? But there are those of us who have babies by they breed with other races. There
mhm,
are those among us who do that, right? And so if unless we track that person's ancestral lineage and we have an idea of what types of energies are possible to bring back, like there are specific divinations in most traditions for that purpose. And then some traditions just rely on arranged marriages. And so there's only one person who needs to be an expert in that, the matchmaker, right? The
Mm-hmm.
matchmaker needs to be clear, like these two lineages go together, these two lineages don't go together, that type of thing. Even if, like, historically, your great 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 grandfather killed the somebody's great grandmother or great or their uncle or their brother, you know what I mean? And that happened years ago. You bring those two energies back at the same time in the same household, what is that gonna look like? And then you wonder why your kids don't get along. I mean, these are the things, like, we got access to all of this information, is how now we use it, just like when he was talking about chemical warfare.
Mm-hmm.
We have access, but how are we using it? We're using a lot of our power to hurt each other. So
Yes.
when he started talking about spirit genetics and how the different groups that were warring, now we're in a situation in the United States where we need to align ourselves and kind of remap some of that history. There's rituals that got to be done. We may need to do things so to squash beef. So
that's what's
we
up.
we because we're in a different situation. This is a whole nother land. And I love what he said about not when someone comes from a particular area on the continent and comes to the United States, and that that's connected to your lineage, and they're going to initiate you. There are things that have happened here that will cause you to need to initiate them, because
Mm,
they may be using one form of divination, you using another based on what's available to you,
Right.
right? So we have to really, like, those are the types of things. When we start to put those things into perspective, I think that we'll find that we have great power innately in just how in our lives that we've lived. Like, we should just know by the virtue of the amount of stuff that we've gone through. And we're still here. That there's a lot that we have gained. And I always say, I love how he brought all of that together, because I always say there's so much of our blood and bone in this soil. Like, we really have to begin to do the things to activate this soil that we're on, because this is where we're having issues that need to be resolved. We can't keep going like this.
Right on, right on. I was thinking when you said that, I think the part that, because I'm the type of person where I give people more credit than they probably deserve. And I know people who knowingly would marry somebody's racist, a man's daughter, and he's a racist. So knowingly, that why would you want to? Because we're always trying to prove ourselves. That's why it's important for you to know the history and knowing who you are in it, so you can stop trying to prove to other people by marrying their daughters that you're not threatening. Because really, most times you're giving them more life than you are giving yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when he talked about that, the returning of the ancestors, I felt like somebody needs to be saying to some of us, why you keep bringing your enemies back? And then want to know why you trap, why they won't do certain stuff for you when you keep, it's like funding your own execution.
But you're bringing them back now, powered by your melanin. So the blood is significant. It's just not the only significant thing. So you're going to give melanin is like a superpower.
No, right on. But most times they don't really get the melanin.
Right.
And that's why people who lack melanin don't be looking for that sun as much.
Right.
Because melanin has a lot of power, and when you have less of it, you can't be out in the sun.
Exactly.
But
it powers some spiritual, it powers some, let's say, I want to say meta powers. It gives you some meta qualities because it's in your brain.
Right on.
You know what I mean? It's a thing that saturates all tissue. So even the sun, absorbing the sun's energy and transmuting that within your body, right? It gives you, it has a lot of benefits that, Black women, we would be, there's really not any real reason, according to the Western science, that we should be here. Because we've been through pretty much everything.
That's real talk. No, that's real talk.
What I mean? We wouldn't be here. I think melanin has played a big part in preserving us.
I agree with that. No, that just totally makes sense. I just wish that we understood that. I he broke it down scientifically and how spirit and science work together. But I don't remember hearing older people talk about certain things, and they may not have had the proper education, but they knew this stuff.
Yeah, they knew.
They knew it.
They knew. They didn't go through all the trouble of explaining everything, how they knew. But a lot of the things they saw so much clearer, right? Because they didn't have the internet and Netflix to distract them. They were really living their lives in real time, right? So it's a completely, totally different experience to be close to the land, close to all of the natural elements in the earth, to have more access to that whatever part of the world you live in, and then experiencing people in a different way, because you have that nature's like a balance for you, right? So you know how we go to the ocean to kind of reset ourselves, but if you live off the land, then your hands are constantly in the earth, right?
Right.
So your vibrational frequency is different. It changes you, because even the short amount of time I was in West Africa, I was in Nigeria for maybe like a month, I guess. In that short amount of time, all of the extra shit just went away, right? So I wasn't really watching TV. I wasn't even listening. I didn't have a lot of outside frequencies going on. I had nature and ritual, right? So it cleared away all the stuff. The buildings were built differently. So there's not a lot of artificialness between you and the earth, which changes your vibrational frequency and adds to the amount of clarity you have. Also, living in a country where your life is in danger most of the time, and you can clearly see, like, we're a little bit removed, because watching things on video is not the same thing as seeing people drug out of their house, as seeing people killed in front of you, as smelling the smoke of burning bodies is a whole nother experience, right? So when you think about that part of it, of course, there's just some things that they knew, right?
Right on.
Like you talk to even you, Ian, like it's a knowingness about you. Like,
yep,
we can say we believe in God, but you have to have certain experiences to really know God, because words don't teach.
Experience does. Yeah. Yeah.
So when they say that's not a good idea, it holds a different kind of weight than if some young person now says, I don't think that's a good idea. No, they're clear in their understanding. That is not going to work out well.
But at the same time, it's wonderful to watch life. It definitely is a continuum, because at the same time, you can't allow yourself to get stuck in that head that was in 1950 or 60. When something comes to you in 2020 that rearranges what you thought, you have to open yourself up and say, we talked about this about a week ago. You have to open yourself up and say, hell, yeah, that makes perfect sense in 2020. It may not have made sense, or maybe I wasn't ready to accept it or hear it, or it hadn't been in my experience. But hell, I have learned over these past, I'd say in the past 3 years, because I think, or 4 years, ever since you spoke at the women's conference, Ro, I have learned that I can't worry about what the white man thinks about me or my situation or the situation of my people. That has nothing to do with me. That's his stuff. They got to figure that out for themselves. What I have to do is figure out what's going on with me and my people, and leave them out of the equation. In the 60s and so forth, we were so busy worrying about the white man, what he did to us or what he didn't do, or where were we going to get the money for this program? Well, you came to learn that going to certain white men, not all, I didn't lump everybody, because there's some that did help, but you learn, hey, I have to figure out ways to get this program funded on my own. Not worry about somebody who's going to give me some money and then want to come in and tell me how to run my shit.
Yeah, because you got to fund it, run it.
That's right. I got, and that even happens in households. Whoever's making the most money want to run the shit, and that's why. It's Friday. Um, that's why a lot of households get in trouble because
Yeah.
so yeah, we bring a different experience, but it's a continuum, and we can learn. I learn from my granddaughter all the time, but I do caution her. Look, baby, that ain't a good move, but you do what you think is best.
Right.
I used to hate that when y'all do that. Not even when you say it, when you go,
Right.
you know what that means. You don't
And
really want to hear that.
I used to hate it too, because I remember my mommy telling me stuff, and I look back on that and I said, well, she sure was right. She said, and it's, you just keep living.
Oh,
Mhm.
you almost knew that was a no-go.
Right.
Mm-hmm,
You knew it was a no-go.
mm-hmm.
I think that also one of the things that's important is to share values with
Yes,
the elders giving counsel. You know what
That's
I
so
mean?
true.
If you value the same things, then a lot of times you can trust the thing is like all we're not a monolith. All black people don't have the same values. We may
exactly.
have a
You
lot of
better
the
say
same
that again.
concerns. Yeah, we might have a lot of the same concerns, but we don't all value the same thing. And
Mm-mm.
that's, you know, I that's one of the things that got me emotional yesterday when I was listening to the brother talk was because I was like, this is a trip. Like we had talked about maybe a few weeks ago this idea of in the Yoruba story of creation, there's two creations, and the people carved from wood with the bad character having that mixing with them would make the issues highly challengeable. But now even the way he explained the spirit genetics made it so clear to me, like, okay, this is really what we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to sort ourselves out.
Mm-hmm.
And character is a good ruler for a lot of people to use. Like you can tell off the top that somebody's character is weird. Like I don't know which ancestor you are coming back, but you don't even have you don't have the interior landscape for good character. Like you just you're not even trying. You just don't even care, right? And I know black people like that. Like I've dealt with black people like that, and I didn't want to. I made a lot of rules in my life about what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to call the police on black people. I'm not going to sue black people. I'm not going to do it. But then I'm seeing like that you can't make those kind of generalizations because some people are just wearing black skin. They are not what you would consider to be. They ain't kin to you. They're not kin to you, and you gotta just let them go.
That is so true. I think being in America just gets tricky.
Mm-hmm.
And it
And
gets
it ain't just
tricky.
America now. It's all the whole world is this way.
Yeah.
Really?
It just gets tricky because what I do know about America is that the darkest person don't have half the opportunities as the other people who are lighter. So
Yeah.
sometimes we develop character to survive. That's really not
Mm-hmm.
your character. And sometimes when you
Right.
do that, you don't even know how to take the mask off to be like, it's like when you went with the guy in the movie The Mask and he would put it on, but then there's a time where he couldn't really take it off because it's like
Yeah.
blended into who he was.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I am liking that to
Yeah.
when we're talking about heavily originally melanated black people because we know that even though they may try to be like white people have a
Mm-hmm.
way of letting them know that I still know who you are, even if you don't. And every time I see your dark skin, it reminds me of what I don't have.
Right.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna
Mm-hmm.
block you before I would block somebody who is not as dark as me.
Right.
And so I find a lot of dark people trying to be safe Negroes. Because when I see black
Listen,
organizations, I've never seen a dark skinned person
great.
the head of a black organization. I haven't.
I,
I have never seen that. For real. I'm not trying to be funny. I just never
Yeah.
seen that, and so I feel like, you know, it's just tricky. It's tricky, and it's like I wish that the story could be. These are all the playbooks, or these are the characters, but we know there's energies in and around that cause people to show up differently.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to some people can go to white people and cuss them out, and because they look like they're adjacent to them, they may just brush them off, or they'll go get a darker person and say, "This is what I want you to say that I said to say," and then it'll be like the two of us are fighting. But why we, it's just like all these other little trick bags that I see. And so when I was listening for him,
That's perfect. I said trick bag is the perfect way to say it. That's exactly what
it's
it
a
is.
trick bag. It's a straight trick bag. So when I was listening though for him though, and I was talking to my nana this morning, and those two were very close. And she talked about how your ancestors leave these imprints on you to let you know that you from them. So she's from New York, originally, but she was saying when she started doing her lineage, it took her right back to the Pygmy people. And one of her imprints is her side, along with some other things. You know what I mean? And so I was telling her that I've always been really attracted to women, the women's line, not the feminine stuff, but just when women do things, I could fall immediately in line. When men do it, I'd be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just gonna take me a minute. So I've always been women led, and I don't know if that's something that's an imprint for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's an imprint with me because everywhere I go, I've always fallen in line with. I mean, when women do something, hey, what we doing? What we doing? Like, I immediately get drawn to those people. People who bullshit, I move away from them immediately. I have no time for the theories. It's like, dude, what we doing? The boat is sinking. What are we doing? Are we busting out in conversation? We gonna start singing? Are we gonna try to plug this hole, or somebody gonna swim for sure? What we gonna do? So for me, I'm wired that way. I when she said imprint, because she said, I said, God, I can see that because there's some things about me that's a straight wire. That's like, maybe that's my ancestors talking. When he broke down the thing about the God people, and then the Gola, and then the Go, I was like, well, that's my line right there.
Yes.
He's my daddy's side anyway. My mama's side is, the women over there is real potent.
Yeah. As soon as he said it, I said, he hit the nail on the head. Yeah. And that the work that you do, that's the work that you've already done as the ancestress that has come back as you.
Yeah.
She did that same work.
Yeah. That balance word though, even when he talked, to see a man talking balance was refreshing for me.
Yeah.
He would always keep that balance.
Yes.
And you know what I noticed though? It was easier to be open and receptive to the information with the balance piece added in. It's just it did something energetically that what made the information easier to receive, because he said he put a lot of information in a short amount of time.
He did.
That was a lot of information.
Yes. But what I see in him is the same thing that I just said about Ro. He is doing. He's his ancestor. Yeah, and that's why he understands it so well and he articulates it so well, because it's part of who he is. It's not something that he's been downloaded. Yeah. This is what he is, and so he can share it with us, and it's a magical thing to see and to be a part of. It really is.
really is. Yes.
Right on. There's just so many things. I really, really enjoyed him. But I also enjoyed the way he talked about us knowing it. Like you may not know it. This is how it shows up for me with black folks. We may not know something, but when shit hit the fan, we know it.
Oh, yes, we do.
And I just hate we have to wait for the stuff to hit the fan. But we know what to do. Nobody could have predicted slavery. Nobody knew that's what they was coming to. But when we got here, did we survive? When we got here, or somebody was sold to the next plantation, did somebody stand up for somebody else?
Mm.
Come on now. That was not no walk in the park. This is not like, no, we got a false security system to give you money for clothes. No, it was not that. But it's the way we showed up, the way we took care of each other, the way Harriet Tubman and the Harriets we don't know, male and female, went to freedom. They didn't go with no blueprint. They didn't go with, we're going to give you amnesty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we figured our way out of a place we had never been to. It never been passed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's gotta be, come on.
Yep.
I mean, like, and so when he said to focus on where you are, that spoke to me.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking outside of ourselves. It's like, dude, we're so powerful. Everybody want to claim us. Y'all not black. Y'all not this. Man, shut up. Be who you are. We're so powerful. Everybody want us to be what they are. We can't be what you are. Because if you was me, you would have built something by now. Because we did. And you're supposed to be free. You're supposed to know who you are, your name, your ancestors, 4 ways and 4 ways. And y'all ain't built nothing. So you can't come claim me. You tripping. So when I heard him say, we know who we are, I was like, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was very true.
And nobody can tell us how to be.
Right.
We are the only ones who have had this experience.
You better say that again.
And so we're the only ones who know how we need or want, or I hate to use the word should, be. Because we've eaten the food, as bad as it is, we've eaten the food in this country. We've tilled the soil.
Yes.
We walk on the earth of the ground. We have the air, as bad as it is, of the country. But all of that is part of who we are. And so we know who we are, and we have a right and a responsibility
Right on.
to be who we are, and stop trying to get something from here and something from there and something from somewhere else. We can't. We're African descendant people. We can't be Nigerian.
Right.
We can't. We might go there and live, but you can live there. You live there. We can't be Arab.
It's and we start talking like with accents. Like, man, we not damn players.
No, we can't be British. So cut out that damn British accent. We can't be any of those things. We are who we are. We come from the earth of the United States of America. Yeah, that's our heritage, and we can't just push it aside and try to be. We can't try to be the Ifa or the Akan or any of that of Ghana or Nigeria. We can go there and be initiated, but we can't practice and be them because our food is different. Our what grows in this country is different. We had to use the coconut.
Broke that down.
Because that's what we had. And isn't it amazing how spirit, the Orisha, whatever name you want to give to it, brought us to that coconut or whatever it is that we're using that's different, and accepted it, put it in front of us, and accepted it as a divination tool. I always found that amazing. That we don't have cola nut here in this kind. Don't grow here. And the other thing about when we make omiero, we have to use the herbs that grow in the country where we are. And the Orisha, they're so universal, they accept the omiero made with what we have available to make it. And they direct us as we are making that omiero oh boy, there's just so much.
Yeah, because imagine if we really did plant the placenta of our children in our yards, and then we also grew plants there, and the tree that at the base of that tree was the placenta of, even just one generation of children. How much more powerful medicine do you think would the leaves of that tree be for the people in that family?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is when I say activating the blood and bone that's in the soil, like that's what I'm talking about. How much of our blood has been spilled here? How much of the bones of our ancestors are in the ground here that activate that? The things that grow up out of that ground are more relevant to our experience than they are other experiences. We take a leaf, even if we look at the names of herbs in the indigenous language of the spiritual tradition that you practice, whether that's Vodun or Ifa or whatever, Akan tradition. So in these, the leaves have a certain quality. Like if you could look at them, some of them, it's the way they grow that's significant. That they grow in a vine, that it entangles in a particular pattern. It's the way the leaf looks. It's all those things. And we have corresponding herbs here that we can take to make these same medicines. And also there are probably medicines that we should be making just out of what grows here that's specifically for what we have to deal with. Because we have a kind of peculiar, we're in a precarious situation. Like it's not, we can't point to anybody else on earth and be like, oh, you've been through this. Okay, cool. Let's, see what they did and fix it. No, that's why it's called the peculiar institution, because the transatlantic slave trade had some unique problems. Therefore, and those problems are our problems still. Like we haven't completely transitioned out of that experience. We have a lot of trauma to heal. We have a lot of generational things that have been, that we've perpetuated, and things that have been perpetuated by the people who enslaved us. And we need to protect ourselves from continuing that on, because the result of that is that we still are target practice. Like we need to move out of that space, at least, to live, go from survival mode to living. A lot of, I think, what we are hard on ourselves about is also just the product of trauma. It's like from being in survival mode. Your body can't even sustain that. Bodies cannot sustain that. So you get these high levels of inflammation, and then we want to solve problems from areas that are really coping mechanisms, right? So it's nothing wrong with being a vegetarian or a vegan. Yes, that's better for the body, but that's not really what's causing your inflammation. For most Black people, like diabetes and high blood pressure are stress induced. And that's the stress of being in survival mode. That's the stress of, even if you personally have moved yourself into a better position, we're only as strong as our weakest link, really. So, and I'm not even talking outside of your family. I'm talking about people in their families. Even if your shit is secure, you know somebody that ain't that far away from you that might be on a little bit of shaky ground or rocky. Even if it's just their mental health or their emotional health or the fact that they can't even have good relationships with the other people in the family. And here's all the information that we needed to be able to process through all of that. So sometimes it's just going outside your grandma's house and getting some leaves off the tree and making some omiero and putting the Negro in a bath. You know, it might just be something like, you know, making a medicine. It might, so it's always like the spiritual practitioners are the person in the family who's supposed to be mostly like, if we practice these traditions to connect with our ancestral tradition, so that then we can be for the people who come down our lineage. Now they may not even be our blood relatives, but they may just be people who came from the region that we came from. You know, it might have been your great 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 grandmother's next door neighbor. Like her kids might have got snatched the same time you did. Like that's significant. These are significant connections that we need to start making, and but we got to make them here with what we got. Like you said, that's gonna be our saving grace. Like that's why that conversation yesterday was so powerful for me.
And you know what else came up for me? Now this is I saw a post by Jay Vaughn yesterday evening at the Sugar Shack.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, look at that ancestor there. Who I don't know the story of that piece of land, but that's her land. She has a real connection to that land. She's got those elderberry trees and those other fruit trees, and she got her tomatoes and and her chickens. She's doing it, and that it just it touched me because it looked to me like that's the ancestor right there. You see her with them boots on?
Yes.
She was that's her land, you know? That's her land. Who goes and buys a beautiful piece of land like that and then they ain't sitting in the house. They're out there. Yeah, working that land. That ain't the first time she's worked land.
Yeah.
See, that's the ancestor right there.
That's real talk.
And the ancestor brought her to that piece of land.
Yeah.
So here we go, baby. Now let's get to it. And look how happy she looks.
Yeah. And I do think part of the answer for Black folks is that we do have to do some healing with the land.
Oh,
because
yes.
a lot of trauma happened on the land. Like we talk about that blood and our ancestors' blood being soaked up in the land, but that also means we got to deal with the trauma that was created due to the land, to all that labor. And you know, that trauma that happened when we was forcibly working from sun up to sundown. There's some trauma there, so to be able to touch that soil like she's doing it and working it the way she wants, not being forced to, not have it be a force of oppression. For her, it's a source of liberation.
Yes.
That's doing the work.
Yes. Yes. Yesterday was a hell of a day.
Wow. And you know, her dad's side, the people are from that area.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So I just was like, you know, on the road trip this year, we're going to stop down there. No, we got to stop down there.
That will be
make Charles people from anywhere.
That's going to be a blessing. Just stepping on that land.
She is not playing. I'm like, I love it. She is not playing. So I think that's all a part of the work. And I ask that that's all a part of the work. And I think that some of us may do it somewhat in detail, but I think that all of us have to touch it some way. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it may look different for some of us and it may look the same for some. You know what I mean? But I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a part of it. Some of us is just wired. I mean, the times that I've been with Javon, she is wired for. She's a child of Oya. That's number one. She's wired to go to battle. So I go to battle. I want her on my side. Like
Yeah.
you know, when she. That's why I hate to tell her. Like, so what we gonna do? I'll be like, oh damn, yeah, I wasn't ready for that. She'd be like, so what,
Yeah.
you calling me for what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you want me to do? And that's her energy. Like that's how she rolls. So you can't be BSing with her.
Yeah. That's that Oya energy. Come
Yeah, she
on.
like
Let's get
call
to
me when
it.
we getting ready to go to battle because I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
Yeah.
all right, Jay, you know. But I'm grateful because I really believe too. And someone told me this years ago, but I believe this. The person said your ancestors link you up with people who they was linked with before when they was on the planet. And I've
Oh,
had
yeah.
that experience a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, where this person come from? Because we're rolling. Like you know,
Mhm.
in the moment, you're not thinking about it, but then you look like, man, we is in this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so it's like they send you in the battle with the right people.
Yes, that's right. They do all the time. Hey, how the hell did we link up, bro? All
Yeah.
them years ago. I
I
don't
don't I didn't even
remember.
remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You know,
I
but we
just didn't
did.
remember. I'm
Thank
serious.
God for that.
I mean, I'm serious. The ancestors be like, nope, this person, blah blah. And I believe in ancestors working. Like, you know, I think they not up there on vacation. You know what I mean? Like wherever
Oh
they are,
yeah,
you know, they're still working. They're still moving you
yeah.
around like a chess piece.
Oh yeah, they're working. They're working.
You be like, how did I get over here?
Yeah, yeah. Who said crazy? You know what I'm talking?
Yeah. And he got that in, yeah. And got a ton of knowledge to share. And some of this stuff is free.
Uh, uh, who? How did I get so lucky?
Yeah.
You know?
And even in the midst of this being around some men who get on my last nerve, didn't he come in here like a light
Ooh.
with balance? That's why I said I could actually hear you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to feel like, you know how sometimes you remember like what he meant to say was because he be
No.
sounding so damn ridiculous. He didn't sound like that.
No.
He could have just talked the whole time and I'd have been over here taking notes like I was yesterday. So
Me too. I got my
yeah,
note.
yeah. So
It's
yeah,
it's his energy. It like I said earlier. It is who he is. He just came here to do the work that to open up the mind, the heart, the spirit, to enlighten, to bring forth this information and do all the other things that I'm sure he does. But it's like we're going to give you a blessing today. And we're going to give you a lesson and a blessing all in one small body, like one human body.
and, and you know the other part of it was too. You know, you'll meet people and they'll be like, "You're this, you're that." When he said it, it just made sense. It didn't feel like a bunch of dogma, and it didn't feel like, yeah, you're a part of this tribe. He was just saying, these are the people who came, these are the things that they did. You know, he was like kind of giving you the code to
Mm-hmm.
unlock it for yourself if that's what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to
Mm-hmm.
sell you from the tribe of something else. Like, you know, he was like, no, like this is what they do. You tell me. Here you got the
Mm-hmm.
information. You tell me.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yep.
Like, okay.
Yep.
So I enjoy that. And Sister Allison saying that's why we always have to keep paying homage to our ancestors because they are working to continue helping us. It is on their shoulders we stand on. That is so true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most definitely, every day. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. And they waiting on us. They're like, come on, y'all, quit playing.
Yes.
Quit
Yes.
playing. Y'all play too much now.
Yeah.
Y'all should have been over here. If you're listening to us, this is African Spiritual Conversation. Please support us. Go to YouTube and subscribe to Earth Mama Network, and also to our Facebook pages, Earth Mama Network. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Any wrap up closing words, lady? That was a great debriefing. I felt really good. I like the debrief after I watch something real good. I love like what y'all think?
Yeah. What did you hear, or what did you see that I may have missed, or that you thought something different about it? It brought this to your mind, and so it even expands the whole conversation and the whole
Right on.
experience. It was wonderful, wonderful.
Right on. What about you, if I'm about to play? Oh, sorry. Hold on. Sorry, sis. Sorry, it was crackling. Go ahead. Take it back again.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm going like
it was
this.
awesome. I'm gonna actually watch it again and take some more notes. I just, it was a gift. Like I think it's worth spending the time to kind of see yourself in the information, because he covered a lot of bases.
He did.
Like it was so. The beauty of it to me was that it was very inclusive. So I'm
Right
glad
on.
we got a chance to talk about it, because I'm like you, Ro. I like to be like, hey, what you think about that? Right?
Yeah,
You know, everybody's so different. So it also helps us to catch all of the little nuggets, because it was a lot of information, but I it was well crafted, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the balance of it, you know, and then taking the time to put it with us. And I just want everybody to have a wonderful weekend. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
Right. I gotta remember
Yeah.
to say it. I don't always remember to say it. That's how big I am. All right, family. We will see y'all on Monday. Hold your phone, good people. I'm gonna post up here where you can subscribe to us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Earth Mama Healing Network is where that's all you have to type in. So thank you.
Winnie, Winnie, liebe, liebe mein Sa, Afifi, Jeje, Efufu.